So y'all have been with me for a while. Be on camera, be off camera. I don't really care. I'm just happy that you're here. Happy to be in service and in community to y'all this evening. And life is a miracle. We all know this. And my teaching practice tends to show up for me in ways that are miraculous, I'll say. Because what better time for me to teach about mindfulness of emotion? Uh, 5 days before my 1 year anniversary of my stroke. Oh my God. Like, if you all knew the way I've been in my feels this week, boy, man, I was talking to a friend today and they were just like, "How are you?" I was like, I am. I am. Like, I don't really, and we'll definitely get into this more in depth, but if you haven't been through a serious injury, there are no words for it, right? There's no words to talk. I mean, and I know all the things. I'm super trained and all these other things. So people are like, "Will we see you next week?" I'm like, "Probably not." Because I know that my body is going to have a response. Like, I know that my emotions are going to have a response. Like, yesterday was my brother's birthday, and today was the 1 year anniversary of the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsing, which is 10 miles away from here. So that was very present for us here in Maryland. Then 6 days after the bridge collapses, I collapse. Holy shit. So the anniversary of the bridge coming up, like, I spend time with my taxes, I think I shared with y'all last week, and seeing the first quarter of last year, like, it's no fucking surprise I ended up where I did, kind of thing. And one of my friends today was just like, "Are you beating yourself up?" I was like, "It's not even that. Like, just the enormity of touching your mortality when you least expect it brings up emotion. It's unavoidable." And I just give thanks that I chose to offer this experience now because I've been practiced and have to be practiced to offer this to you. So I'm just grateful for the chance to talk about these, but as with anything, while practicing them. Like, I've been mindful of my emotions all week. Whoo. Woo. So with that, I'd like to ask you, as we have been doing, what is your praise report? What is heavy on your heart? And it's springtime, y'all. So what shoot, like, spur of growth are you noticing anywhere in your life that you want to amplify? Right? So praise report, heavy on your heart, and what new growth in your life or in your awareness. It can be anything from, someone sent me a picture of a orchid that had a little the new orchids coming back, right? So it can be that, or it can be a project. So we will put that in the chat. So praise report, heavy on heart, and spring testimony. So I will model because that's what I do. Um, Praise report. I'm still here. I'm still here, boy. Oh my God, right? Like, and praise report for the grit that I've had to demonstrate to still be here. Part of the praise report for still being here is I taught at Kripalu this weekend a program called The Sound of Spring, a Sonic Bloom. So I took 15 gongs to Kripalu and blew it up, right? And got to pair with Lama Rod Owens on Saturday night. So Lama Rod Owens and I held court in the Great Hall, and it was just like one huge queer wisdom teacher, one huge straight wisdom teacher, like going at it, and it was just delightful. And Lama Rod Owens, we've become family. I know, Kathleen, absolutely, seriously. Lama Rod Owens kind of bust this thing on me in the middle of our. He's like, Reggie, I'm gonna ask you this question. How did you? Because every teacher says love your injury. How did you actually do it? I was like, look, man, like I had gotten over being depressed and mad at myself, so I had to choose the righteous path, baby. You know what I mean? Like self destruction and self flagellation weren't helping me feel better, so I figured I'd adopt mindfulness. And then he was like, well, you should know that your transparency about your health not only helped me get my shit together because we're the same age and the same size, but you're leading a revolution in our teaching space by radically talking about your humanity. Like a lot of teachers don't mention like their humanity or the frailty of the body. They want, and they it's under the auspice of not causing harm to students. If me telling you the truth causes you harm, I'm not for you at all. So that's my praise report. Is being at Kripalu, banging these gongs, like reconnecting with Lama Rod Owens. He and I were supposed to teach together in Colorado last year, but I couldn't because I was sick. So that was like a full circle moment, and it was just a delightful experience. Heavy on my heart is the stroke anniversary. While I do hold tremendous excitement for still being here, this has been the hardest year of my life. And I've been through some shit. So it's heavy on my heart, not in a depressing kind of way, but I just tell y'all, like, do not take your health for granted, for real, right? Because when you have to fight to get it back, whoo, man. So Pat, we're gonna surprise sing to you, girl. Like there you go. Like anyway, you act like I didn't know that, but anyway, we still gonna sing for you. And spring, y'all, the shoot that I'm excited for. So I got word today that a fellowship that I applied, that someone recommended me to apply for the Carnegie Foundation on how to heal politics, I did not get. But you know what email came after that? A personal invitation from Sharon Salzberg to sub in her Buddhist studies class. So, guess what, y'all? Here's the thing. Not every seed you put out there is going to take root. But sometimes the seeds that you don't even know that you planted blossom. So, for those of you that are timid and ain't throwing no seeds out there, get over it. Life is too short. You can die next week. Throw some seeds in this fertile soil and stop playing around. All right. So we will go to Pat's praise report. I'm 66 years young today. So everybody clear your throat. Happy birthday to you. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you. Unmute yourselves.
Happy
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 birthday,
birthday,
birthday, dear
dear
Patricia,
Pat.
Pat.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
to
you.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I've been serenaded all day today.
And what's wrong with that?
Oh, I'm completely having a ball with it.
Right on.
You know, my late grandfather used to he and my grandmother used to call me. I'm the oldest grandchild on my mom's side, and they
All right.
used to call me for every birthday,
Yeah.
send me a card with money, which I still have cards. I still have them
For
in my
sure.
safekeeping. And they would call and sing to me. My grandfather was a tenor. He had been in a group. He was the minister of music, if you will. He
Yeah.
also the men's chorus, you know. So they would call and sing to me. And so it's been about 9 years since he's been gone. And so it's hard not having him call. So one of my colleagues on campus came down to sing to me. She came up to sing to me. And so it was great. It was great. So it's been a good day, Reggie. Um, you know, I can't complain. I could, and it's been pretty busy since we just got back from spring break, but can't complain. Heavy on my heart again is the attacks on freedom of the press. One of my former colleagues, Michael Abramowitz, formerly of VOA, sent out a note today. They have sued for what is happening there. I have several colleagues and friends who are suing people because this is just unheard of. So, not telling you what to do, but if you all can find it in your heart, please make sure that you are at least reading, listening, viewing what is happening. We need freedom of the press. And if we don't have it, things are going to be really bad, as they are on their way to being bad. So
Thank you, dear Pat.
thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Nothing like a horrible cacophony on Zoom to
Hey.
celebrate your birthday.
You know what? It wasn't horrible.
No.
Oh man,
look
what are
for-
you horrible? What?
Reggie, I said that just for you. I
And
wanted
half the people stay muted.
I get paid to sing. Ain't
No.
shit, I do horrible.
Oh, okay.
Reggie, that was just for you, Reggie. I just want to see your response.
I mean, it wasn't my best voice, but happy birthday, Pat.
I completely love it. You all have no idea. So
Happy birthday.
thank you.
And I kind of apologize for fussing a little bit because people have their own right to not mute. So I'm half sorry about that. And also, somebody's birthday, y'all. Come on now. Anyway.
No, Reggie, I was with you. I was so glad you said it. I was
Yeah.
unmuted, and no one wants to hear me sing, but I had to join you. So
But also so
Happy
no
birthday,
judgment.
Pat.
So I do apologize a little bit. Okay.
No, you know what? No apologies today. Now,
Yeah.
tomorrow may be different because I'll be back to being my usual self. Today, I'm pretty good.
Right.
Tomorrow, there's no bets.
Love it. So who else? Who's next? Like praise report, heavy on your heart. Either put it in the chat or use your words. But like share something. This is the last get together. Put something out there. Don't be holding it to yourself. Shit.
I guess since I'm being loud and jumping in and stuff like that,
it.
I will just go ahead and continue on.
Get it.
Praise report. One, very grateful, Reggie, for you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad that you're almost at the 1-year anniversary. I can imagine like the grief that comes as you've still been moving through and just you've still been moving, but it hits like you said in that anniversary. I can just, I can imagine. So I'm just sending you lots of love and peace as you kind of navigate it. And that day comes and goes, and you wake up to another day of health and progress. So, and I'm grateful for you offering this. Another thing I'm giving like a praise for is I kind of jotted this down. I was like, I'm grateful that I give a damn about showing up for a class like this. I really am. I have not made everyone. I've been coming since right before the holidays. But that it's been kind of in me to want it, that there's even like something in my spirit or my mind that wants it and is coming to it. And so for me, that is huge. It really is. And so I'm grateful. I give a praise about that. Praise to celebrate my nephew today, my only nephew, turned 5. He's in Virginia, couldn't be with him, but I'll be there next week to celebrate my mother's birthday next week also. So those are some praises. Heavy on my heart, kind of like Pat, is just, and probably almost everybody, it's just the country and, the nonstop shit, of it all. Big, if I had 3 thumbs, I would put them down. Yes, Ashton. So that is heavy on my heart, probably most of all. And spring. just being out. I was trying to get my steps in before the class. I'm almost there. I'm going to have to get back out after this. And I have about 1,200 to get in, but I'm going to get it done. But that, it's 7 o'clock. It's not pitch dark. It's still chilly up here in Woodstock, but still it is getting warmer. So spring is coming, and I'm grateful for it. Grateful.
Thank you, family. I'm gonna read from the chat here. Ashton prays I'm back to health after being sick in bed for 5 days. It's a long time. So welcome back. Heavy, this is our last session. I feel that. Spring, kicking off the first event for Flex Foundation, Yumi's NPO that brings entrepreneur travel and wellness opportunities to underserved communities. There you go. Awesome. Praise from Susan, going to be in a psychedelic assisted therapy intensives tomorrow through Saturday, and super grateful for the privilege of this experience and deeply deep healing, clarity, and wisdom. Ashe, heavy on my heart, approaching the 25th anniversary of my mom's transition. And I can feel the depression trying to take root in my heart, and of course, the massive harm being caused across the globe. It's almost unbearable. That's why we come together. That's why we come together. And thank you for the share. And I feel the grief, trust me, like in my own experience, but I totally understand. Like when you come up on a date, you just kind of like hailing. Praise report, the community I formed at Gropala with Reggie continues to show up for me. Awesome. Oh, awesome. Had some powerful exchanges with other brothers who attended over the past few weeks. Love it. Still recalibrating my engagement with current events to balance being informed, being vigilant, spring testimony, I'm back outside, as the kids say, for sure. Yeah, don't stay out past the street light, though. You know how that goes. Gail, praise, back to enjoying painting and art. Just brings me so much joy. Heavy, a sick family member. Blessings on their well-being. Spring shoots, flowers blooming, and the breeze. Absolutely. I can only imagine in Florida. Absolutely. And Megan, I see your hand. What you got?
Hey everybody, I'm so sad that I missed the happy birthday rendition. But happy birthday, Pat. I'm so happy to be here with you on your birthday. I celebrate an entire birthday month, so I truly honor your birthday and everybody's birthday because I think it's really important to do that. So thanks for telling us. I know people don't like to share it too sometimes. So I appreciate that you brought that into the space.
If she didn't share it, I would have, because
That's the Reggie Halbert story right there, right? I give you a chance to say it, and then no. So, praise report. I'm just so thankful to be here with y'all, and especially, Reggie, that you are still here with us, and I can still text you, and you still send me pictures, and I get to see all the magic and craziness that you're getting up to. It feels like such a blessing. Um, and I feel really grateful for my work right now. And I told you guys before, like I feel like my capital W work and my lowercase W work are like aligning. And today just had like a killer conversation with my students about human migration in the US and history and racism and just all these incredible things that we got to talk about. And just thankful that I get to still talk about that stuff, right? And I'm gonna keep talking about it. I'm not gonna stop. So that feels really fun. And just like something you said last week, Reggie, that really kind of resonated for me this week was you talked about how truth has its own legs. It doesn't need like a marketing campaign. It doesn't need, an Instagram reel to go viral. You just have to be willing to put it into the space. So I really saw that in action this week at work, and that was really cool. I was willing to like say things and try things out, and then all of a sudden people are like, it's catching on, like some of the stuff that needed to get said. So that's my praise report. And heavy on my heart is there's just a lot of pain out there right now. And I'm sure a lot of us on the call can like feel it because if you if you're an empath, if you sit in meditation, if you're involved in that at all, like everybody's suffering becomes part of your experience. And, you know, it's something that I have to kind of microdose on so that it doesn't become my suffering too. And I don't make it worse for everybody else, but I also feel called to like to hold it. So just kind of sitting in that space of like the collective grieving is really intense right now.
Absolutely. Thank you all for the shares. One more praise report is that my baby brother turned 46 yesterday. Yeah, so God bless that. Like, yeah, I love that dude. Like, he's my polar opposite and my dude, though. That's like my brother. So my baby brother is over 45. Yikes. Oh, man. Anyone else feel called to offer praise? Lisa, what you got?
First of all, I want to say happy birthday to Pat. I'm on my phone and I could not figure out how to unmute myself. So I was singing. Reggie Earls, I was singing. But you're all probably grateful that you couldn't hear it because despite being the descendant of amazing singers, it did not get passed on to me.
We make joyful noises in the congregation, though. You good.
My praise report in the last like week and a half, I've spent a ton of time with my parents who are both who are 81 and 82. And one day it was just like helping my dad figure out how to undelete the thing that he deleted on his, computer or whatever. But it was just like I felt so grateful to have that time with them, and they're both like healthy and mentally well and able to just like love on each other, and it's such a gift. So that is my praise report. Heavy on my heart, I mean, yes, plus 1,000 to the things people are saying about what's going on in the world. I think what's particularly heavy on my heart is like parenting teenagers, my specific two teenagers, and just that, we all want to wave our magic wands and make it better. And I think when you're looking at somebody that you love and you can't, it's just sucks. It just sucks. And then, the spring thing. So this is funny. I'm a really conflict averse person. And in this conversation about emotions, that seems relevant. But I've been leaning a little bit into like, yeah, conflict. There's like, it's important, and I'm going to try and grow. I'm going to try and grow my skill with it and my comfort with it, because avoiding it is just creates more problems in the end. So that's the thing I'm trying to grow, is like productive conflict.
There'll be plenty of chance to practice that over the next several years.
Right.
You have picked the
Careful
right time.
What you wish for.
No, you have picked the right time to grow. There will be ample opportunities to grow in this regard. Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, everybody.
For sure. Unless someone feels called. So for my deadline-driven family, going once, going twice. So, hooray! Let's practice, y'all. So let's get into the shoulders, get into the neck. If you feel the need to stand up and do something more aggressively physical, but just find 30 seconds of movement that gets you into a flow. Allow the neck to remember that it is part of the spine that can go in all the directions more freely than the other parts of the spine. If there's tension in the jaw, open and close the jaw. If there's tension in the shoulders, take them back and down. But just tune into what the body is experiencing and offer gentle movements to bring it space. 10 more seconds of movement inspired by what the body is saying to you. Then bring palms together with a clap, bring friction in the palms. Keisha, thank you for your email this week. We can't avoid friction, but we can play with friction. Lord. So let's play. Shit. Deep inhale through the nose, I'm breathing in. Exhale out the mouth, placing hands on the heart, because all of us talked about heavy hearts. Let's offer our heavy hearts a tender touch. Deep, full, soothing inhale. Luxurious, cathartic exhale. Clap, friction in the palms. Again, playing with friction. The type of people that are acting up in these days, they don't know any other way than you taking it to them. So friction. Like, I haven't figured out how I'm gonna smack these motherfuckers, but it's coming. Inhale through the nose, I'm breathing in. Exhale out the mouth, I'm breathing out. Hands to the jaw and the throat. Maybe even softening or closing the eyes and just tending to the tension that lives below the ear and above the collarbone. Gentle inhale, smooth exhale. Clap, friction. Thinking of a master plan, focus the mind on the hands, and then tune into the body. If there's tension in the body, place heated hands there. If you're good, place heated hands to the sky and send it to someone who's going through something. And just trust that your loving gesture will be received by someone who is in need. Deep full inhale. Exhale out the mouth. Clap, friction. Focusing on the palms, the heat, the friction, the sound. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Love on your eyes, your head. Hold your head in a therapeutic capacity. Wherever that means, top of the head, forehead, wherever. Just if there's tension and you notice it, be kind to it. Now, slide hands down the face. Place one hand on heart, one hand on abdomen. Shifting from mindfulness of the body to mindfulness of the breath. Maybe you just say, I'm breathing in on the inhale, I'm breathing out on the exhale. Maybe you count the breath. Maybe you ponder. But just spend the next 10 seconds breathing deeper than you have all day. Feeling the nourishment of breathing in unison with other people. Feeling the medicine of sharing from the heart in a world that has grown callous and cold. Switching the palms. Shifting your anchor if necessary. Maybe it's the hands on the body. the rise and fall of the belly and the chest. Now release hands from the body altogether. Let's spend a moment just in stillness, silence, and choose your attention. So maybe you focus the feet on the, focus the mind to the feet on the ground. Maybe you focus on the breath. Maybe you focus on the quality of thought. But 1 minute of self-styled practice starting now. As the gentle bells in the background fade away, inhale through the nose, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause. Full cathartic sigh. One more inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause. Exhale, sing a song. Spend 1 second sitting with your primal and angelic nature. We've cultivated the space to hold both. And as you're ready, release the meditation. Thank you. So let's dive into a bit of a review. We're near the end of our series, but I want to take time to restate my intention that I've been holding for this series, to share practical tools that you can use to enhance your quality of mind and life right now. So pretty simple. I hope that's going well. And if you set aside an intention for this series over the course of our time together this evening, I ask you to revisit it and think, how have you done, right? Just as a gentle measure of reflection. And to recap the last 3 weeks, we began with the definition of mindfulness as non-judgmental loving awareness, the journey that begins with an invitation to pause and discover your innate dignity that exists beneath the accumulated notions of who you are and how you should act. So the shoulds, nah, they're not welcome in mindful practice. Yeah, Ashton, we don't sing anymore as a culture, and especially in Black culture. Blues came when we gave a song to our depression. Blues music came when we had unwithering Jim Crow craziness foisted upon us, but we put a guitar to it. Right? So when we keep our song during dark times, it cuts through all of the things that the mind gets caught up on. And I do that when I do more specific sound stuff. One other thing in my praise report I didn't mention, Y'all, I got to offer sound healing to hurricane first responders from Hurricane Helene in Asheville, North Carolina. They got to be in like my full wizardry, which was delightful. And Reggie's been in my full wizardry, right? Like, so just like all the gongs for these people. And the indigenous elders from the community came and were just like, your medicine is transformative. I was just like, and they're like, when you come to Western North Carolina, I was like, oh, I guess I guess I gotta go. Okay, right on. Let's figure it out. So yeah, one of my praise reports is I got to offer medicine to people in deep healing from recovery from Hurricane Helene. And I started my remarks by being, I really don't know what it's like to have water take away my house, but I do know what it's like to rebuild from rock bottom because I'm 11 months into that experience. So as someone who's 5 months more down the path of rebuilding from absolute rock bottom, here's my loving kindness for you. And they're like, oh. And I think I started out, I probably cursed like 3 or 4 times. And the elders were just like, we love this guy. Like, he's so honest. I was just like, my mom says, you paid how much to go to Yale and you still curse? Yep. And I mean all those words. So yeah, we sing because these people can cut the jobs, these people can lie, these people can cheat, but I'll be goddamn if they take my song.
You better preach, Reggie.
You're not taking my song. Right? Because you can't do shit with my song.
Mm.
So that's why we sing.
I'm glad I asked. Thank you so much.
For sure.
More singing.
Right on. So yeah, you know, to that point, Ashton, before I get back into the review, I taught a sound whole. So this weekend at Kripalu was all sound and few words. And when we kept talking about sound and singing, people were just mesmerized at how quickly sound moves stuff. And we had the whole weekend, like people were sharing all this heavy stuff. Then we would play instruments and sing. And then like one woman who works for a refugee resettlement organization that because of the shenanigans of these, I'm really trying to stop saying the F word. I really am. I'm not. Anyway, these people, a $300 million organization is now $30 million. So they have had to fire 400 people, of which she had to fire 45. And so she walks into our Sangha on Friday night like broken. Why did she float out on Sunday and didn't really know how or why? And she's like, Reggie, like, I don't really understand what happened. I was like, you were present to your sorrow in a room full of 30 people who held you in the heart space. And when you hold people in heart space, things lighten up. Right? So that's another praise report that also goes with the mindfulness of emotions that we'll get into. Mindfulness is the art of living, to be present with your life, not in the fantasies of the future or the reruns of the past, but to be fully where you are. Training this capacity of presence, you can calm and quiet the mind, open the heart, learn to see and work with different energies of your life, and respond wisely. We talked about the sacred pause and mindfulness of thoughts being as only powerful as we make them. Right? We talked about the wisdom of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who tells us that sometimes your thoughts do not have your best interest at heart. We talked about what meditation isn't. Like the goal of meditation is not to get the mind to stop thinking. That's impossible. The mind's job is to think. The goal of meditation is to focus the mind on something so that you can allow the focus of the mind gets it from the worry, the hamster wheel, and those sorts of things. We talked about the mindfulness of thoughts, how it lays the foundation for upgrading your internal operating system. You bear witness to a thought and you're like, do I even believe that anymore? Like, is that even true? right? So when we bring curiosity as opposed to critique into our mindfulness of thought exercise, you can be like, wow, you're still there? It's time for you to go, right? As opposed to, why are you still there? Blah, blah, blah. Like, so turning down the critique and turning up the curiosity. We explore techniques on how to bear witness to thoughts as objects. And in so doing, seeing how we react to our thoughts and then choose how to respond as opposed to react. And lastly, for mindfulness of breath, mindfulness of breath is not breath control. That's pranayama. So that's in yogic parlance. Mindfulness of breath is align mind, breath, and heart to enter the spaciousness of that alignment. So simply by being present to the breath, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, that just makes things super simple and aligned, right? Mindfulness of breath at its essence is a tool to focus the mind. Then as we expand our awareness and connection to the breath, we cultivate an intimacy with the mystery of life, right? The breath connects us to the cosmos, literally. So for those people that want to get lost in that rabbit hole, mindfulness of breath gets you in touch with like the mystery of this thing called the breath. So we'll pause there. Any questions about the first 3 weeks before we go into mindfulness of emotion and feeling? Going once, twice, sold. I do not, whatever. So mindfulness of feelings and emotions. So let's focus on the final frontier of our time together, y'all. We live in a society that elevates and even worships the intellect and demonizes or stifles the realm of feelings. Be strong. Don't show weakness. Or if someone's going through something, people compassionately say, get over it. Oh my God. You know? And we often equate in our society being impacted by emotion as a sign of weakness or inefficiency. How gross is that? Let me also mention how we've unnecessarily gendered emotional awareness in our society, right? Emotional awareness and emotional intelligence has been attributed to the feminine, but men got emotions. People who present as men got emotions too, right? Like, as part of the problem with quote unquote men is the whole disconnection from our emotional state. So stoicism and toughness are attributed to toxic masculine. Yuck, right? Like, so the way we even consider emotions is binary, which is not even appropriate. And it's definitely not helpful. So let me say this from the top without equivocation. Emotions are human. Emotions are human. They're not gendered. And they're definitely not gendered in the way that our society thinks of gender. Blech. So in the same way that we discuss mindfulness of thoughts, you can't get the mind to stop thinking. Feeling and emotion is an essential part of the human experience, y'all. They're unavoidable. They're powerful and potent. And our feeling and emotional landscape is ever present, often taking place in our subconscious. And the biggest gift we can give ourselves is to experience the full range of emotions that life offered us. You know, quoting Jack Kornfield, it's our birthright. Repression of feeling is what keeps us from being fully alive. Right? So referencing my emotional situation right now, I would definitely prefer not to be on the verge of tears for the whole week. But I'm holding space for it. Like, I was on a meeting earlier today. They're like, Reggie, what are you doing next week? I was like, I'll probably be in my studio crying in low light because I am just happy to be here. So Oh, yeah, I'm talking about death to you in our staff meeting. Yeah, but and the fact that I'm super emotional about that. Yeah, totally saying that to you. Voice crackling. Yep. Dude saying that to you. Crazy. Whatever. Yeah. Those are my emotions. That's how I'm feeling right now. And did, what that has done in that particular work relationship is it strengthened it. They know where I'm at, they know how I'm feeling, and this group of people honors that, you know. And if we pay close attention to the body is a field of ever-changing sensation. The emotions affect our thoughts, affect our body, affect our breath. So that's why mindfulness of emotion is the last one that we're talking about here, because if you have a level of mastery with the first three, it can allow you to dive into the last one, right? So today, when I was having an emotional episode, I was tight in my chest and short of breath. So first I was like, oh fuck, am I having a heart attack? Then I was like, no, you're being a hypochondriac. So you're not. So, you know, open, feel, soothe, and become present to how you feel, right? And in the same way, when we practice mindfulness of thought, we can sense the space between thought, breath. You notice the space between breath. If we tune into our emotional landscape, we can begin to see and name our feelings, creating space in the heart to just bear witness. Don't judge. We often judge our emotions. Emotions are not meant to be judged, they're meant to be experienced. They're meant to be expressed. Especially complicated emotions like grief and sorrow. You can't hide from them. And the mindfulness of emotion allows you to be present with them to the degree that you're able. I mean, of course, if it's too much, it's too much. But we're often stronger than we give ourselves credit for. And mindfulness of emotion allows us to bear witness to the strength that we have in mind, body, and breath to tackle our emotional landscape. Mindfulness gives us the tools and the capacity for expanding the heart and expanding the window of tolerance, which softens the resistance and the attachment to suppressing our emotions. So that was a whole lot. So I'll pause there and see if there are any thoughts or questions about what I just said.
Just say I love that you said, you know, if emotions, excuse me, sorry, emotions are human, not gender, and that's something that, you know, it's like your feelings aren't connected to anatomy, you know, and I just as someone who kind of grew up as a sensitive, you know, child in some ways, and I don't mean like extra, right? But still, like I could, you know, if something upset me, or I could cry if I needed to. You know, this sense of like, that's not being a man, and be tough. And I'm just
Oh,
grateful
Lord,
that like,
yes.
my mom was not like that, you know, that I could express how I felt. And that my nephew, who I mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
he says that he's, you know, he says he's sad. And my mom will say, you aren't sad. And I say, Mom, he can be sad. Like, don't tell him he's not sad. Well, what is he sad about? Doesn't matter.
Does it
If he
even
says
matter?
he's sad,
Right.
stop telling him he's happy. Like, don't do that. So I'm definitely that uncle, you know, who's like, let him feel how he feels. And I talk to him about it and tell him it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be sad. And it's gonna be better. I love, you know, but stop telling him that bullshit, you know, or trying
Right.
to change his emotion. He just told you one thing, you're telling him something different. Like,
Yeah.
stop that, you know?
Way to break the cycle for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's
Yeah.
hard. I'm trying with it, but
I feel you.
the struggle is real.
Absolutely.
But yeah, but thank you for sharing all of that.
You're welcome, Susan. Exactly. honor the entire wheel of emotions. Because I can tell you, as someone similarly, they called us sissy for having feelings. You know, be a man, all this other dumb shit. And at one point, I can remember being like, if being a, I remember saying this to like the generation older than me, and I was just like, if being a man it means being uptight and emotionally obtuse like y'all, then whatever. That I ain't it. No, I'm okay. Oh, you don't know what obtuse means? Don't get me started. You know. Anyway, that's what happens when you have a kid that reads too many books. Kathleen, what you got?
I just wanted to respond to Reggie Earls. Um, I love that, like, I'm 59, so from my generation, nobody cared what the kids were feeling like. I don't remember ever naming an emotion growing up, and I had a lot of them, but nobody ever asked me how I was feeling, or like I don't think I ever named an emotion till I got into therapy in my 40s, like that I was even experiencing something that could be named, right? Like I didn't learn any of that kind of vocabulary till I got into therapy to find out that I was experiencing a sensation. Like I wasn't aware. I mean, I felt like I've just been a reactive person until I was 48. And now I'm 59. I'm like, am I gonna have a few more years to actually do something with this? So I think it's great that your nephew even said he was sad. I was sad a lot when I was a kid, and I never said anything. So I love that your nephew said something and you acknowledge, like that's something. That's something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that, Kathleen, for sure. Um, Y'all, emotions can be perceived as pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. And we emotions are complex, so we sense them through all aspects of our being, right? So they're body sensations. They are, you know, you can feel tightness in the chest. You can feel all of these sorts of things. And we can give ourselves grace of naming and normalizing our ability to feel, acknowledging the complexity of it, and making space to welcome the realm of feeling. You know, mindful awareness can hold space for all things, grounded in wisdom and supported by compassion, right? And quoting Jack Kornfield again, ignorance and delusion are the enemies to the liberty that we seek. Elder Pema Chodron talks about it's not life that causes suffering, it's our story about life, right? Our interpretation that causes so much distress. Many of our interpretations color our thoughts and emotions. So before we go into a practice period and guided meditation about the mindfulness of emotion, I want us to sit with the questions that I asked in the email. And just think about it not as a response, but just to have your mind ready with what we talked about. So, what was your family history with emotion? What was allowed in your family? What wasn't allowed? What range of emotions were okay for you, if any? What is outside of your comfort zone? So let's just hold that space for about a minute. And I'll repeat the question. What was your family history with emotion? What was or wasn't allowed? What range of emotions were okay for you? And what's outside your comfort zone? Now let yourself sit in a way that's supported by your energy. Maybe it's upright and comfortable. Maybe you lay down. And when you're ready, and if it's comfortable, close your eyes. And in keeping with our agreement to honor our needs and resource ourselves accordingly, just use whatever anchor is the most comfortable now. So if it's a body scan or mindfulness of thought, rest your attention in compassionate awareness on the best anchor for you. And wherever you feel peace, ease, and calm, settle into those places. If there's a place where tension becomes alive in the body, take notice of it and see what might be able to release. Remembering the goal of all of these practices is to strengthen the muscle memory for peaceful, loving, non-judgmental awareness. And if at any point during this meditation you feel a sense of overwhelm, it's okay to pause. It's okay to press pause and deal with it later. Just tell yourself that, and don't stuff it away. So now relax your physical form as much as you're able. Allow the shape of your body to support your awareness. Notice gravity in the body and allow wherever you feel weight, allow the body to soften. And as you settle into more conscious relaxation, notice your inner dignity arise. That space of grace, peace, and fortitude. It is our true nature. Notice the body breathing naturally. And find where the breath is most easily felt in the body. Maybe you place a hand on the heart or the belly or both. And just notice the ebb and flow of the breath. Relax the shoulders and arms and let the hands rest easily. Let the belly be soft. And let the heart be soft as well, to receive whatever arises with kindness and compassion. Now shift your awareness from the breath to all other experiences, sounds, and sensations in the body and in the emotional body. And notice if any emotion is calling for your attention. Now bring that same loving awareness to the emotions as we did in mindfulness of thought. So maybe you name it: sadness, joy, anxiety, boredom. Expand your vocabulary for how you feel, because when you name the dragon, you can begin to encounter it. And as you tend to this emotion that you've just named, notice carefully where you feel it in the body. And also notice how it's a constellation of sensations. Maybe there are thoughts attached to it. And again, just notice and name. And notice how the emotion responded to this kind awareness. Did it dissolve? Did it get stronger? Did it change into something else? Just notice all of these things. In this space of loving awareness, kindly notice emotions that arise and fall. And if you feel any resistance to contacting the emotion, just notice the story that may be attached to that emotion as well. Acknowledge it with kindness. Then let it fade to the background and bring presence to your awareness of this emotion. And when the emotion has shifted or dissolved, focus back on the breath. Maybe I'm breathing in on the inhale, I'm breathing out on the exhale. And just stay in this place of compassionate review. Notice what came up or didn't. Now introducing a technique called RAIN, which is recognize, allow, investigate, and nourish. Choose any emotion that is present in your emotional landscape and focus on it. And recognize what's going on. Did the breath get shorter? Did your posture change? If your posture became constricted, keep the heart open. And if the body has become tense, maybe placing a hand on the heart or a hand on the side of the face, or maybe even rubbing your belly, allowing self-soothing touch to be present for you as you sit with this emotion. And just allow the experience to be there. So you recognized it, you've located it in the body, and in the constellation of other sensory experience. And without seeking to change anything, allow it to be. Maybe even talk to it. Be like, I've been talking to my sadness all day. It's like, hey, sadness. Yeah, we got a crazy week coming up, don't we? Whew. So personifying the emotion, because if it's coming up for you, it just wants to be seen and expressed. So allowing the experience to be there, short-circuiting the tension or the way our society compresses things, just allow it to be. Then investigate what you've allowed to be there with care. If there's a story attached to the emotion, gently inquire, is the story still true? If there's a physical manifestation, how might you offer exercises to relieve the tension in the body? So investigate all the aspects of what's coming up for you. Or if you can't name it, ask it questions. Are you anger? Are you sadness? Are you confusion? So gently inquiring as to what's present. And lastly, the N in rain, nourish yourself with self-compassion. Maybe even patting yourself on the heart or on the back. Hey, I had the courage to even deal with this shit. Or if it's sadness or anger, like giving yourself credit. Like, yes, I feel this. Hooray. Reprogramming the mind's relationship to emotion. And if you're not okay, it's okay not to be okay. What I often say is like, I'm not okay today, but I'll get there someday, babe. I'll get there. I won't get there by avoiding you, so I'm gonna keep coming and dealing with you until we get better. But recognizing the courage it takes to look something you've been avoiding in the face with love. That, my dear ones, is the essence of mindfulness of emotion. When you're ready, to the best of your ability, release your connection to the emotion that was present for you. And notice the tools you've gained to deal with these complex things. But also noticing that these emotions come and go, just like the thoughts, just like the breath. and remembering the more time we spend in this awareness, this curiosity, this spaciousness, we gradually become more open, balanced, and free. Two clearing breaths as we close our meditation. Deep full inhale through the nose. Exhale with a sigh. Because this shit is hard, y'all. Inhale through the nose. Sing a song. And when you're ready, please release the meditation. So before we open it up for any sort of reflection, I love y'all for even sitting through this. This shit is not easy. And several of you, I can see and or sense emotion was very present and powerful for you. But as we close our class, we'll run a little bit over today because I'm not just going to be like, we're at time, because what the hell is that? Anyone care to offer any thoughts on this experience? Mindfulness of emotion? Kathleen, go for it.
Just quickly, I wanted to offer a phrase that I learned in the polyvagal course. They talk about stretch and savor, how we stretch into a new behavior that might be uncomfortable, but then we savor the possibility of connection.
I love that. Received. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good analogy because this is like, it is a stretch to deal with something that you've not dealt with for a while, but leaning into it is delicious. I'm here to tell you the fact that I can now, as someone who identifies as a man, whatever that even means in these days, because I don't want to identify if that's it anyway. To say in a meeting, I'm not available next week because I need to tend to my heart, which is broken because I almost died last year, right? Like to say that without apology, oh, I've come a long way. Right. And if someone was uncomfortable with it, you'll be fine. You'll be okay. Because I'm okay. Because I had to do so much damn work to come up with those words. You'll figure it out. So thank you for that, Kathleen. Anyone else? Any thoughts? Any reflections on this practice? Megan.
I think this is really powerful. Thanks for holding this space. The emotion that came up for me was like loneliness,
Okay.
because I've been feeling like I miss my mom in Florida. I miss my best friend. I miss my brother. And it's kind of like my first thought was like, no, you don't. You're happy here. You're fine. Right. Like my training that I have had in my family, to kind of dismiss those emotions outside of like happiness or joy or acceptance, right? Everything else is like, no, no. Like I'm like Reggie Earl's grandma kind of energy inside sometimes. I'm like, no, you're not sad. But when I sat with it, it was like it wasn't uncomfortable. It was just there. And that was really powerful. So I appreciate that space. And I had a student who got really experienced a very strong emotion, made a choice to do something that got him an in-school suspension this whole week. And talking with him about it, I kind of leaned into some of this practice about where do you feel it in your body. And it was really powerful for him to kind of go through that process and notice he felt it in his hands before he did something that, he shouldn't have done, that he regrets, and trying to help him create that awareness and that space for his decision making. So I think something that keeps me coming back to this, even if it's uncomfortable, even if I don't feel like doing it or I don't like it, is that like I can't teach it. I can't be a healed person in this space. I can't do any of this work that I want to do if I'm not doing it for myself first. And yeah, so it keeps me coming back even when I'm like, ugh, I don't wanna, ugh. So thank you for this.
You're welcome, Susan. Thank you for your shared joys and emotion I don't have a strong relationship with, and one that I've been exploring recently. During the practice, I managed to glimpse joy like a warm ray of sunshine. We have all these emotions that are like the subconscious field is so vast, and there's so much going on there. That you got that glimpse, and Megan, like you said, that you sat with something that you were trying to tell yourself ain't real, but it is real, and it's not good or bad. It's just there. Like, that's a simple statement. It's just there, but that's so profound. It's just there. So if it's just there, and you say it's not there, that dissonance is what wrecks us. But it was there. You're like, oh, hey, loneliness. And loneliness was just like, yo, what's up? I've been trying to call you, yo. I've been trying to kick it with you, right? Like, now can we say, now, and all it wanted you to do was pick up the call. It's going to keep calling, right? So, anyone else care to offer anything into the space? Ashton, what you got?
I had to share this one because it was so funny. When you were talking about emotions being non-binary, I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then we start this meditation and you're calling to mind an emotion, and my emotion is actually excitement.
Oh, cool.
Like right after this, I get to go teach a teacher training, like the late night Wednesday teacher training. Lots of fun stuff going on. So I'm sitting here being like, no, no, that can't be the emotion. No. And then finally I'm like, wait, what? I'm binarying my own emotions, even
I'm
though I'm
sorry.
just there like, yeah, Reggie, yeah, they're not binary. And so I ended up having this big inner dialogue with myself, like, okay, self, emotions are valid and also equal. And also, why are we hierarchying or labeling or, and so it was just this hilarious conversation. And then the emotional part, which you saw for me, was I realized this is what I've historically always done with myself is make these barriers like, no, you cannot, only this way, like all these like hindrances. So then I had this conversation with like 18-year-old Ashton when she started that shit. So there was reparenting that happened. There was a lot that went down in that meditation. So thank you, profound, more in ways I did not expect.
I love that you shared that. And again, so especially in the times we're in now when everything seems to be shitty, right? So if the emotion that's super present for you is excitement, don't suppress that shit. Run, tell that. Like,
That's a rare and hot commodity right now.
yeah, like to just be there, but like, yo, I'm excited, right? Like, yeah, in these times, that's platinum. That's Haley's comment. You better take pictures.
And just like singing it can be revolutionary instead of almost feeling guilty, like, oh, everything's so fucked right now. I really shouldn't feel happy, right? Like that's not the attitude
Yeah,
at all.
that's what they want you to think.
That's what they want to have happen. Exactly.
Hmm. Cool. I love
Thank you.
that. You're welcome. Anyone? Last call for anything.
I'm
Reggie,
just
what you got?
I caught excitement like Ashton did. Meanwhile, I've been crying this whole time. Like, which is okay. I'm like, damn it, why couldn't I have been excited? And I'm gonna hate to look back at this on video when I go back and watch it. But it's okay. A couple of things real quick, because I know we're running. I don't want to keep everybody, keep you, Reggie, and everybody longer. One thing though, I was talking about my nephew and my mom, and I will say this, one thing that came up for me is that even in the midst, like, everybody's parents have their stuff, right? And are humans doing the best they can to raise us with what they have. I wanted to say, my mom certainly did raise me to be able to express myself and to share how I'm feeling with her. Not that it always changed the outcome, because I had a feeling about this, or I could, use my voice to share with her if I didn't agree with something or whatever it was. But she was really raised in a household where that was shut down big time, or you could like talk back or spoke up in some way, and maybe you got a slap in the collar, against the wall, that kind of thing, right? So, I say that about my nephew, but I do just want to say, my mom is a very loving person, and she did raise me, that it's okay to have my feelings. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be sad. And what I thought was thinking about that, Reggie, when you're asking the questions about who taught us, kind of think of our history and feeling and all of that. So that came up. And then what came up was anxiety, which I've kind of had as a young child, being in a single parent household. And the oldest, and the only child for about the first 9 years. Any idea of something happening to my mother really just, gets me. And so this morning when I went to call my mom, I couldn't get her on the phone. And this is something like, I'm just have to keep working through it. But, I was about to call the neighbor to be like, go over there, like what's going on, And it's anxiety about thought of like something happening to my mom. And which I know, is I don't know, it could be me first. I hope not, for me and for her sake, but but that really does give me anxiety. And because I'm a mama's boy, even though I'm a mama's boy. And I've been able to live away from home. I was able to move away from home. My mom's in Virginia. I'm in New York. But that is something that just came up, and I just said to myself, like, it's okay. If anything, I really love my mom a lot, and it's okay to have fear about her not, something happening to her, and it's okay. And it's okay to just sit with that and to be anxious about it. And it just says, I really love my mom a lot. And so, so I just sat with that. And sometimes when I do tell myself, if I'm kind of worried about something or worried about her or something, I just say, look, like you just talked to her, she's fine. And we joked a couple days ago because somebody was in a car accident or something, or someone that she knew. And I said to her, like, I want you to just stay in the room. I want to wrap you in bubble wrap, but don't leave the house. Stay in the house. Which I know is not reasonable, but I really would like you to just keep her in the room.
Oh my God.
And I know it's crazy as hell. But I just feel like that's the safest thing. Just don't leave the room. Keep the bubble wrap on, mama.
Oh, girl.
So anyway, just doing this process, just let me sit with that. And it's like, and it's okay, and my mother right now, is leaving Chuck E. Cheese for my nephew's birthday party. Like, she's fine. And if I call her right now and I'm all teary, and she'll be like, boy, I'm fine. Like, go, I'm fine. I'm going to sleep. Like, shut up. I call sometimes all weepy, like, mama. She's like, boy, what? So, anyway. So she certainly created a space, and then she's like, what is wrong with you? Anyway, thanks, y'all.
Yeah, and so the beauty of that, and this is why these practices in community are so powerful, is that we essentially get to share each other's story. You know what I mean? We shared Ashton being like, I'm excited, but why? You can't be, but and then like her reparenting, and Reggie, we heard you being anxious because you love your mama. Like, if anything, you should just text me, Mom, I love you more than I can say.
I will, yeah. I'll reach out to her.
You know, Pat, what you got? Birthday girl.
Well, I would just say that, Reggie, your mom knows that you love her. And I think that that's what a lot of people don't have is that real true love. Yeah, she gonna tell you, no, boy, go to bed. Stop calling me. Because I know my son is not a mama's boy, but he do some crazy stuff. Like he likes to FaceTime me. I don't want to be on FaceTime. I just, like, dude, what are you doing? So, but I know that he loves me, and your mother knows that you love her, and she you. And I think, if anything, I mean, that really is the greatest love story, when you really think about it. So, yeah, you probably are like, oh, mom, I can't. But on the other hand, it's beautiful that you feel that way about her, because so many, I know people who don't like their parents. Now, my parents have gotten on my nerve. Don't get me wrong. And now that they're older and older, they really do stuff that we just like, whose mother is that? Or that's your daddy. That's not our father. We know good and darn well it's, we all are from the same, from the same group. But the love, though, that you have shared with us about your mother, I mean, I'm telling you, I know too many people who don't like their mamas and don't talk to them and haven't talked to them for years. So you keep on doing what works for you and your mama.
My
Trust
God.
me, she's gonna get on my nerves, and I'm gonna call, like I said, all weepy, and she's gonna say something that's gonna be like, "Okay, mom, bye." Trust me, she's gonna get on my nerves. I know it. Whenever I call, I'm like, "Mama," she's like, "I'm like, okay, I'm good, bye."
My mom's mom, I was her firstborn grandson, and I would want to call and talk to her about everything. She would be off that phone in 45 seconds. Rest in peace, Costello Scott. Ooh, Costello's like, Mama, I love you. I want to tell you about this. Baby, you good? Mama loves you. Bye. Damn. Well, right on. At least she heard 45 seconds of the 5-minute story I wanted to tell her. All right, cool. Y'all, I just want to, what you got, Reggie?
No, I was just gonna say just yes. I mean, when I'm calling very full with something,
Mm,
and she'll just be like, okay, again, it's really funny. It's really funny. And I
mm.
was very close to my grandmothers also. And one has been gone a few years, the other one about 11 or 12 years. But I was very close with them too. And so I think having lost them, I have my grandfathers who I love, who are crusty, but I love them, but they're not my grandmas, that's for sure.
Mhm.
And so having my mom and kind of that last, so yeah. And thank you, Pat.
Dear ones, we have reached the end of our time. And I just want to thank y'all for sharing so freely from your heart, like sharing so freely with your like thoughtful listening, not just to you, but to us, right? Because there is in these sorts of spaces, and I experienced this weekend in Kripalu with this with the silence and the sound and the gongs, is that when people are together in the heart, especially in cruel times, there's alchemy. And I wish you this alchemy um, going forward. Remembering these practices just require gentle revisiting again and again and again. And even if you don't do them for a couple weeks, they'll be there when you get back, right? So these practices offer you compassion forever. Please offer that same compassion to yourself, right? So in conclusion, y'all, I'm going to play this bowl 3 times, but before I do that, I want you to find space in the body, space in the breath, and space in the heart. Susan, thank you. And just focus on what's present for you now. What's present for me is immense gratitude for the chance to be of service, offering compassion practice in a cruel world. And I'll play this bowl here 3 times. May it be a balm to your heart, an inspiration to your mind, and medicine for the world. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, sing your song. Be well. Be loved. Take good care.
Thank
Ciao
you.
for now.
Bye, Reggie. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.